Humans and demons battle, and the hero subjugates the Demon King. This is a tale of eons past. The world has become peaceful, and we have entered an era where dungeon raids are considered entertainment. But on this day, I lost my job. Let's start from the beginning. Adventurers and monsters alike use magic clones to fight in dungeons where nobody perishes. These have become all the rage, and media footage of the raids is streamed across the continents. Currently, adventurers, demons, even the heroes, and the Demon Kings are merely occupations. The Demon King's castle. On the fourth floor, someone swings a blade. This place lies through all the wolf packs. Albert's magical sword is bursting here. The werewolves number 123, holding up at least 10 guards defeated altogether. If I'm seeing this right, what tremendous might. As always, man, that skill's hard to use because he's vulnerable until it invokes, but the Holy Knight Lux is covering for him. Oh, what careful support he is. As expected, they are each clearly powerful, but in the end, party coordination is still necessary for dungeon raids. Although Lux himself boosts warriors' defense, being able to make level-headed decisions and suitably cover his comrades. Man, he is so powerful. The main character, standing there, thinks to himself, I can't hear inside the dungeon, but that must be what they're saying. The commentary continues, saying, and Lux's ability to dedicate himself as a shield is, after all, we see someone coming up at the front and saying, I'll attack him. Can I count on you to handle the vanguard along the way? No choice then, huh? You can simply head to the very front. And with the shimmering light and a gaze, there it is, the lightning speed. There are only 3 confirmed users in the world today, and we are also bearing witness to supersonic archery today. That speed cannot be discerned by the naked eye. If you look at the enemies collapsing from the arrows, you can clearly perceive its ferocity. 8 of them got removed at once. Now then, while this is going on, Phoenix is calmly heading toward the floor boss guarding the door to the next floor, as if this entire situation is just an illusion. But there are still several dozen werewolves around. His comrades must furiously attack to prevent them from reaching Phoenix at all costs. As Phoenix is up against the monster boss, the main character thinks, looks like most of them are alright. Phoenix will continue to the boss like this. What's left is, we see him getting attacked by a wolf from behind, but someone defends him. This someone is the blonde-headed guy named Alvar. He says, don't just stand there doing nothing, you pain in my ass. He smirks toward him and says, oh, that's your black magic specializes in that too. But in the next second, it looks like he himself is getting attacked from behind and is shocked. A girl, says, there are still enemies around, so concentrate. We see Alvar saying, yes, ma'am, and giving the side eye to the main character, greeting his team. The main character himself is blank. Here it is. Phoenix has finally reached the floor boss. Comparatively, the floor boss is clearly gargantuan. It seems like it could even be 3 times as big as a normal werewolf, with tremendous force. But our Phoenix, even as he stands before the massive floor boss, isn't showing a hint of cowardice. Phoenix says, werewolf leader, I'm sorry, but we shall pass. And with that, he uses his sword. As the monster attacks him, he blocks its attack with his sword. The commentary proceeds, saying Phoenix called the floor boss's attack with his sword. What an incredible block. With that, he cuts through the hand of the wolf boss, engulfing it in flame. Oh, flames are engulfing the floor boss's body. The floor boss is in pain. It's struggling with all its might, but is unable to escape. The floor is an unending surface as Phoenix cuts through him with one strike of his blade. And with that, the floor boss is defeated. He says, our battles will forever be victorious. And it's settled. The floor boss has been driven away. Phoenix, the hero of the flames, has once again repelled a floor boss with a single attack. They are admirable compared to their raid of the 4th floor, as we should expect, no less from the party of Phoenix, the heroes of the flame. See, the might of a holy sword differs based on the spirit lying within. The one he controls is the fire spirit, which is said to be the source of all the heat in this world. It is clearly a spirit of the highest tribe. Accordingly, it's said that its criteria for choosing a bearer are extremely strict as well. This is why he is the first one to form a pact with it in 130 years. Now then, with their entrance into a safe room, beep, it seems their raid will conclude here. That's too bad. We cannot wait for their raid on the 5th floor next, can we? It's on my mind now. In the end, the Black Mage, Remy, he's in a position naturally suited for supporters. But if you consider how things work these days, he doesn't seem to be a member you'd prioritize having in a party. Realistically, even without him, it wouldn't cause a huge gap now, would it? People say, yes, he's certainly right. That said, he hasn't budged a single step, has he? For now, the commentator says, I believe having a white mage is quite a bit better instead. It would provide them with an even more tremendous offense. But what can we do? The main character thinks, well, they're talking about the same thing again, aren't they? Black mages, white mages. Accompanying arts, such as restoration, enhancement, and purification, are beneficial for the target, while black mages, on the other hand, serve to do the opposite. Black mages generally accomplish arts such as speed reduction, offensive and defensive reduction, mind confusion, sustained poison, and blinding darkness. Both white and black differ from defense and offense magic. It's difficult to perceive their effect visually, and most people know why black mages are neglected. It's because it's simplistic. While white mages heal damage and enhance abilities, it's easy for comrades to perceive the effects. However, with black mages, since the target is always the enemy, even your comrades can't really discern whether they're receiving any benefits from it. That's right, and now that dungeon raids have become entertainment, it's even more unappealing. During battle, even if I reduce the enemy's strength, magic, physical offensive power, mental fatigue, and even limit their vision, it's never once touched upon in a live stream. Compared to my comrades who fight all flashy, it looks like I'm just standing around to the viewers. And even if I chant incantations, you just get an absurd amount of comments like, what is this guy mumbling? Ugh, how repulsive, or something like that. He looks toward the floors, thinking, so this is the 5th floor next. Among all the dungeons spread across the world, still continuing to preserve its record of no parties managing to reach its deepest level, this is the legendary dungeon, the Demon King's Castle. Because of the raid logging stone, you're now able to resume from the last checkpoint you have reached. But even so, not a single party that confronted the Demon King in the deepest part of the Demon King's castle has lived to tell the tale. The warrior Alvar, the holy knight Lux, the hunter Lily, and me, the black mage Remy, among the tens of thousands of formal parties, we are in 4th place. These standings are determined by the Adventurers Association based on popularity and achievements and are refreshed once a year. For a party like that, it's a mystery why I'm needed, viewer-wise. As his comrade says, let's hurry and go for drinks. It'll be my treat. The main character thinks, our formal party consists of 5 people, including the hero. Well then, the hero of the flames, Phoenix. He's the first person to form a pact with the fire spirit in 130 years. The people are putting their hopes in him, too, to end this legend of the impregnable Demon King's castle. He's also none other than my childhood friend. Phoenix says, shall we head back? And as they step on the transporting stone, the main character looks toward him, thinking, Phoenix, with a hero like him and an unseemly, unsuitable, simple, and unpopular black mage like me. This is the reason, on this day, I ended up losing my job. This happened a little before I left the party. We see an inn. Someone says to him, you're just a burden after all, aren't you? We see all the people, the holy knight, the hunter Lily, all sipping their drinks while someone slams down their cup on the table. This is none other than the blonde warrior named Alvar. He says, am I wrong? We see Phoenix try to protect his friend, saying, Alvar. But Alvar yells at him, saying, stop sticking up for him, Phoenix. I've said it time and time again. Lux, Lily, and I have joined this party by proving our skills. But what about you? You're just Phoenix's childhood buddy, wasting one of our precious spaces. You know, if it weren't for him, who in the world would let some boring black mage join them? The main character laughs at him, saying, well, but the man slams down his cup, saying, that ain't funny. Just face the fact already and stop leeching off Phoenix. We see Phoenix saying, Alvar apologized to him. That's too disrespectful. Remy isn't as powerless as you claim, and I don't think so. These were the words from Alvar. He stands up and says, "Say, what do you guys think? We're not obligated to babysit this guy, right?" The main character is speechless, as is the Holy Knight Lux, who says, "I don't really mind whether he's with us or not, I guess." That's what I think. Alvar twists the words, saying, "That means you'd prefer him not being here, right? Since we could get a better guy than him right now if he's gone. Well, if we could get someone who's active, we may have an easier time, so you get it." We see Lily saying, "Your vulgar way of speaking is awfully unpleasant to hear." He says, "Well, I wasn't raised right. What do you think of this guy compared to me, Lily-sama?" She says, "I do not believe that Phoenix used his personal feelings to justify adding a member who's lacking in physical strength. However, it's true that the effects of black magic are not readily apparent. Moreover, our style is to progress through our raids quickly with high attack power. Therefore, frankly, instead of supporting, I think I prefer more direct firepower." Hearing this, Phoenix is quite unpleasant. Alvar smirks and says, "And there you have it." He says to Remy, "I'm not saying this because I hate you. You know? That's it. Try casting it on me, your magic." Hearing this, the main character is a bit shocked, while he continues, saying, "Your black magic. That way, we'll know instantly, right? If your black magic actually serves a use, I'll apologize to your heart's content." The main character's past is revealed a bit as he was just a kid. Someone says to him, "Very well, I'll make you my apprentice. However, if I hear you whining even once, I won't teach you again." The main character only told his best friend Phoenix about this to keep his master's identity a secret and not tell anyone about it. "Do you not desire power?" That's what his master asked, that we see Phoenix, who knows everything, saying, "Alvar, that's enough. I won't forgive you if you go any further." The main character says, "I understand. I'll quit." We see Phoenix is quite hesitant about that, taking his name, while Alvar is quite ecstatic hearing this. "Great, you finally decided. Now you know, right? This guy's just a coward. Having a guy like this in the party that's fourth in the world. Don't make me laugh," he yells out like announcing. "I wonder what I should replace our black mage with. I heard this guy's quitting. This has happened many times up until now. It didn't start from Alvar instigating it. It's all because I'm a black mage." Adventurers are simultaneously part of the meritocracy and the entertainment industry. If you aren't powerful, you cannot raid dungeons, but if you aren't attractive, people won't look at you either. Audiences would think, "It'd be great if this guy really leaves." When I was a kid, this was not a lifestyle where I could get covered in humiliation. He stands up while wanting to make a difference with other people or the duty he's been given. Then he leaves. Phoenix tries to stop him from leaving, but he says, "It's fine, Phoenix. It's fine. I have no choice but to change myself. I'm going to surpass you people with a different party." Hearing this, we see someone commenting behind him, saying, "There isn't a single party out there who'd want you." The main character just walks away, saying, "Phoenix, we were always friends. However, from now on, we'll be rivals, and I'll be eager to crush you." We see in a marketplace of the town, the main character who's just sitting on the sidelines, thinking, "It's just the same old complaint again, but as always, I have to cope with it. If I explained it to them, I might have been able to stay. If they would know my true strength, however, my master would definitely be exposed, and that isn't what he nor I decided." Phoenix has been keeping the promise he made to me when he was very young, even now. However, because of that, whenever he covers for me, I always feel sorry that his trust with them would waver. I mentioned joining a different party earlier, but in reality, only heroes can make parties. I'm just a black mage who's in Phoenix's party for some reason. Who would recruit someone like me who's out of Phoenix's party? I said I don't want something like that. These were the voices he heard. He was a bit startled, then he looked behind. Someone says, "What a persistent brat." A little girl apologizes to a customer while he looks toward her, saying, "A child. A demi-human at that." We see the father of the girl says, "I'm sure he ate somewhere else already. Besides, you get all sorts of customers once it's late at night. You just need to try your best tomorrow as well." The main character says, "Excuse me, are you still open? I'm feeling kind of hungry." The man says, Yes, welcome. The girl also says, welcome, with her teary eyes. The main character says, are you helping out in the store? How wonderful. Which one would you recommend for me? The girl looks toward the apples. Could it be those? The main character says. In that case, I'll take one then. She says, thank you. As the main character takes a green apple, she says, it's a little misshapen. However, it has a clean color, so I'm sure it's delicious. But it seems so beautiful that nobody would buy it. So I tried my best to convince people that it's delicious, but everyone says they don't want it. Therefore, if Big Brother doesn't want it either, then I will. In the next second, the main character bites the apple and says, yes, it's very delicious. It's just like you said, shopkeeper. She blushingly says, is that true? It's true, he says. For you to look not just on the outside, but also on the inside as well, you're truly amazing shopkeeper. He says, if you don't mind, could I come buy from you again? I like the shopkeeper to give me all sorts of recommendations as well. She, who had tears in her eyes, says, yes, thank you very much. Well, that's a relief, huh? You got yourself a customer. Thank you so much. Both of the shopkeepers bow down to him as the main character says, no, that should be fine. Sorry for bothering you at night. She says, thank you, short people, and her father laughs, saying she's just feeling a little embarrassed. The main character says, very well, see you next time. She also calls out from behind as he's leaving and says, my name is Cashew. The main character introduces himself to Cashew as she says, thank you so much for today, and I'll await your return, whether it be tomorrow or the day after, however long it takes. Cashew will be waiting for you, Remy-san. As the main character waves goodbye to her, he thinks, even someone like me wants to be needed by someone. I did that in the spur of the moment, but it was weird, wasn't it? I wasn't needed as a black mage, though. Such a young girl like her is doing her best. I'll have to do my best as well. These were the words of his master. If you do not reach the summit, nobody would recognize your value. The main character thinks, someone who needs me. He looks toward the gleaming sky filled with stars, thinking, I believe there's someone like that out there. While in a majestic castle covered with darkness, inside, there's a good-looking girl with vampire wings on her head. She looks into some kind of object, saying, this black mage, Remy. It looks like it's getting more interesting. The scene then shifts to the main character, who thinks, how many weeks has it been since then? He went to many people, but they said, a black mage? No, I'm fine. We're in need of people like warriors. Doesn't this man seem familiar? Oh, yes, this is the guy who got expelled. Another man says, that's great. We're looking for new members, but a black mage? What a crushing defeat for the main character. He said things like, I'm going to surpass you. From now on, we'll be rivals. Or so I said, but I haven't even found a party yet. Since I rejected the workplace my parents found me and became an adventurer, I can't go back home now. Since it's come to this, I'm going to use the matching services provided by the subdivision of the Adventurers Association. The service he hunts, he chose his race as human and his job as black mage. And as he started from matching with people, we see there were no matches. He feels defeated. He says, for now, let me eat something. You must have had a tough time being a black mage, hero. This was the word of the shopkeeper. The main character says, well, it's not like you'd ever see accidental urgent recruiting for black mages. Sound weird. The man says, can't you use anything besides black magic? The main character explains to him, well, it's not that I can't use anything else, but I just don't have an aptitude for it. Also, adventure registration basically only permits jobs you have an aptitude for. So, we see Cashew beaming with excitement, saying, I think black mages are super cool too. The main character has tears in his eyes, thanking her. He says, I'm happy you said that. However, to get such a generous customer, I guess that's why you have a cute poster girl doing that instead of a boring male shopkeeper. She was so blushy, saying, that's not true at all. The main character thinks, I'm totally irregular now. Cashew is still 8 years old. She isn't just helping out. She's wholeheartedly trying to help out her family's finances as well, however little it might be. So, it seems she got his permission to work. It seems I was Cashew's first customer, and I, too, wanted Cashew to keep encouraging me. so I show up here quite often now. It hasn't been long since I met the shopkeeper, but he's been worried about me. However, I totally understand. Even the shopkeeper himself wanted to become a tailor, but no matter how much I practiced, there was no match for me in those jobs. We get to know that in their country, you find out about it in a temple when you're 10 years old. You find out about the job you're suitable for, like a proficiency that descended upon you, from jobs relating to adventuring to ones rooted in living, such as chefs, merchants, or blacksmiths. No matter how much effort you put in or how much you wished for something, you have no choice. It's a gift that God gave you. If you're granted what you desire, it would surely be a blessing from God, but for those who don't have it granted, it would be a test. No, for someone like me who dreamt of becoming a hero, it was akin to despair. That's because if your efforts really did pay off, you would have that job that we see Cashew welcoming someone as the main character's notice goes over there. He looks toward the little girl, who's beaming with excitement and happy to be a shopkeeper. He says, "We can only press on with what we can do. Yes, even if things really don't work out for you after all, I don't mind you working here with Cashew." The main character says, "Thank you so much." As we notice footsteps coming over there, the main character takes notice of it as someone was stealing a purse from a lady and dragging her behind. It was a thief. The thief had a knife in his hand and was using it to scare off people in his way. The main character thinks he's coming this way and says, "Excuse me," to the shopkeeper, saying, "Could you stand in that man's way?" The shopkeeper says, "What are you going to do something?" He says, "Yes, it would be supportive, but it'll be fine. You won't be harmed." As the man was coming there, we see the shopkeeper in his way. He says to the main character to watch out for Cashew. The main character says, "Cashew, hide." He says, "Magic is permitted if it's within the scope of daily living, but if I go overboard, I'll get put under surveillance." Thus, in this case, we see the thief saying to the bald shopkeeper, "What the hell? Do you have a death wish, you lunatic?" The main character takes notice of him and captures the target. As he was going to slam into the shopkeeper, we see the capture was successful, and right now, the main character did something that caused the man to freeze midway in the air. The man says, "What the hell? My body's heavy all of a sudden. Why can't I see anything? It's difficult to even breathe." We see, as the man was facing all this, the bald shopkeeper slams the man with a punch, and with that, he holds his hand, dropping the knife, and then punches him in the chin. With this, the man was out cold. Justice has been served. Everyone was in quite awe, and with that, the main character finally takes his chance. He says, "All right, wow, you defeated the guy holding a knife so easily." He pushes all the reasoning toward the shopkeeper. This was all noticed by Cashew from behind. He says, "Cashew," in her ear. She was a bit startled, but then you see the woman thanking the shopkeeper. He says, "It was nothing. It was just what a citizen should do." We see Cashew saying, "Shopkeeper, you were so cool." The woman says, "Oh, my, so you're a shopkeeper then? As thanks, please sell me one of those." He says, "Thank you very much." Everyone gathered there, saying, "Me too. You're quite the thing, aren't you?" The main character thinks about how this is quite a relief. By making him do something good, people will want to give him something in return, all the more if he's a hero who stopped a criminal. The shopkeeper makes a thumbs up toward the main character, and he also gives a thumbs up as well. That on the other hand, we see the guy who was running with the bag is now getting towed up by two guys as he couldn't walk even a single step. He was carried out. The main character thinks about how, even though I use black magic, in reality, it's not something I could easily do in front of a man with a knife. As an apology for getting him to take down the criminal instead, it'd be nice if this could contribute to his store even a little more in another part of the town. The main character thinks, "I haven't lost my touch, have I? Even after retiring from the party, I've at least kept up my training, since that's the promise I originally made to my master. Even after my job was identified, I couldn't give up on becoming a hero, so I desperately tried my best before my master. Now that I think back to it, it was special training that felt like I was in hell, wasn't it? I got left alone in mountains with bees, got told to climb back up myself after getting pushed off cliffs, and I got beaten into an absolute pulp by my master." These were the main character's memories. By constant training and with black magic cast on himself, I learned firsthand when my physical abilities deteriorated or when my vision started getting deprived. I even made my body memorize fine adjustments as well. As long as I don't get interrupted, I'll never fail with magic. I've been taking measures as well not to let any pedestrian know of my black magic uses to make sure nobody knows that I'm a black mage dreaming who was formerly in the world-ranking 4th party. Even though chances are nobody would notice, even if I didn't go so far, besides the main character with long hair and a hat covering her head, she says, "I've been watching you." The main character couldn't understand anything. He faces the woman who said that as the woman also turns around, saying, "Black Mage, Remy-san." The attractive girl takes her name. The main character was directly in front of her, both staring into each other's souls. The main character says, "She noticed me just now." She replies, "You are truly magnificent. In addition to flawless control of magic, your ability to optimize and unleash several kinds of black magic in just a few seconds. I'm absolutely fascinated." The main character thinks what I did earlier was completely exposed. Just who in the world is this woman? The woman says, "The truth is that I'm a huge fan." She blushes on the side of the main character, as the main character couldn't understand anything. He was as blank as one could get. Is this a joke? I believe it if it was someone like Phoenix, but a fan of mine. She says, "I never imagined that I'd be able to witness your black magic firsthand. So I unintentionally slowed down as I was chasing you, and I almost lost sight of you." The main character notices her antenna on her head, saying, "That looks like a bat. Is she a vampire?" She asks the main character if he dislikes demi-humans. He says, "Of course not. I'm just a little taken aback." We observe her taking his name and putting her hands over his hand, saying, "Your black magic is truly wondrous. This may sound a bit unpleasant, but I've been searching for you non-stop since you withdrew from your party. I can't help but think that Phoenix's party was foolish for expelling you." The main character, who notices her big chest, thinks she's so close and in so many areas. The main character says, "You're too close." And with that, we see her totally flustered and blushing, saying, "I'm so sorry." She says, "I've always wished to meet you, a gentleman like you. So I intentionally," she ducks down on the floor, saying, "I'm sorry. Please don't scorn this immodest person." The main character says, "Even though I've always been harshly criticized up until now, for such a beauty to suddenly tell me that she's a fan, and on top of that, she even held my hand, and she smells amazing. No, never mind that." He says to her, "No, there's no way I could dislike you. It was just all of a sudden. I haven't even asked for your name yet." We see her turning around at him, smiling, and saying, "You're a kind man, huh?" She says to the main character, "You've never changed since then, have you?" The main character couldn't understand anything, saying, "Have we met somewhere before?" The main character thinks she doesn't look like an adventurer. There practically aren't any demi-humans among the adventurers, apart from elves, even more so if she's a vampire. But this lady, where have I know, never mind. The woman introduces herself as Mira. She says, "If you don't mind, as an apology for my rudeness, will you not allow me to treat you to a warm cup of tea?" I gravely acknowledge that this is an abrupt invitation, but world's rank for adventurer. I mean, I may not get an opportunity like this again to be before you. So, as long as you're fine with it, I shall prepare a location. The main character was a bit hesitant about it, thinking about what he should do. The girl notices his hesitance as she makes a cute and delicate face, saying, "Is it not all right?" The main character was quite embarrassed by her blushing face and says, "It's quite fine. For some reason, doesn't this town remind me of Venice?" We see as both of them carry out their way. The main character thinks, is there any human out there who would refuse something like that? Nonetheless, Mira-san, you're really sticking out, aren't you? Though that's understandable, since you're so beautiful. You're totally different from someone as plain as me. She says, "Just now our conversation strayed off topic halfway in. I didn't have a chance to say this, but you're the ultimate black mage, you know." He tries to deny it, saying, "No," but she says, "Don't be modest. Among the top 100 parties in the world, there are only 3 black mages, and you're the only one in the top 10. Certainly, in the adventure industry, The black mage differs from other jobs as it's not as flashy or scrawny. However, the only reason why Phoenix's party managed to achieve such a result was because of your involvement, wasn't it? That cannot be achieved by an ordinary black mage. Moreover, your ability to control magic so accurately is also because you, Remy-san, personally know every minor detail about the effects of black magic. Surely, you must have put in incredible effort that's unimaginable by ordinary people. While others say to him, "You're just a burden after all. I don't really mind whether he's with us or not." Instead of him, I think I prefer more direct firepower. This is the first time I've ever heard such words since becoming an adventurer. She said she was a huge fan of me, but I wonder if she could know this much just from being that. She says, in the first place, even though the hero Phoenix's ability to successfully deal with the floor boss in one blow was only because Remy-san's power weakened all of the enemies. When the world was going through their minds, considering such a high-ranking black mage. Humans are truly imbeciles. The main character attracts her attention. She says, "I truly apologize." That was simply something a friend of mine said as well. Hee hee. The main character says, "Is that so?" She says yes. The main character says to her, "Could you express my gratitude to them the next time you meet them?" It's truly supportive to have someone show such appreciation to someone like me. She says, "Very well," even though it's already being conveyed to her. The main character couldn't understand anything. She says to him, "I apologize for keeping you waiting. It's this way." We see the majestic dark castle we saw earlier, and the main character says, "This place? This place is the Demon King's castle." The woman says, "I sincerely apologize if this startled you." He says, "Mira-san, just who are you?" She says, "We've been aware of Remy-san's true strength since long ago, but after seeing it in person, I was firmly convinced. Remy-san, you're a man who deserves respect and a befitting position. So, I beg of you, please lend us your strength by any means. It looks like if the humans don't give him the respect he deserves, the demons shall bow before him."